Coach, so with where you're at, I know you're just kind of taking it one game at a time here with this group. But do you kind of start to look at this point in the season at maybe, where you're stacking up in the conference and maybe use that as a little bit of a goal, maybe, angling towards the conference tournament a little bit and maybe trying to, maybe find a way into getting that by, or is that just something that's too far off in the distance?
We we understand the standings, and we understand the standings are important. We try to stay focused in on the next game.
We'll go to Bree.
Hey, Coach, it seems like for the first time this season, you guys have had a consistent schedule for almost a week and a half now at home. How have you just seen your guys kind of grow and benefit from just having a consistent routine?
I think we're getting better. It's never to the coach's liking, and we've taken steps forward. Sometimes you're going to take a step back in what you're doing with 10 new guys and, a team like we have, a younger team that hasn't been around and not that much experience. But, we're happy to be out there working together, and everybody's healthy, practicing every day, playing games at the Save Mart Center here in Fresno. So we're just, ecstatic for every opportunity we get to play basketball.
We'll go to Gabe.
Good afternoon, Coach. Alluding to what you said earlier about focusing on the next game, what do you guys see in Utah State? What challenges do they bring against your squad, and what are you focusing on with the Aggies this week?
They play smart basketball, and they got a really big guy inside who is really good. Neemias Queta, he can score, he can block shots, he can pass it. He plays great pick and roll defense. He can find the open man when he's in the post. He's hard to handle in transition. And they have a very smart, disciplined team around them that move the ball around. They share it well. They attack well. They play great team defense. So it's going to be a heck of a challenge for us here at the Save Mart Center.
And if I might follow up real quick, Stephen.
Go for it, Gabe.
You talk about Queta. How does he stack up against your big man, Orlando Robinson? And how do you expect Orlando to attack Queta, who's, as you said, such a big force down low?
Yeah, Orlando is always going to be aggressive, and he's going to come ready to play. That's what I love about Orlando. He's always going to come ready to play. He's always going to be aggressive. So we got to put him in some positions where hopefully he can be successful.
We'll go to Robert.
With Orlando, I mean, he's got the ability to kind of stretch out a little bit. I mean, is that something that you might try and make use of?
We've tried to move him around all year long, and it was not as easy to do against the zones against New Mexico, but we definitely try to move. His versatility is a strength of his and ours. So with Robert, that's a great question. We're going to try to move him around all over the floor so people can't just beat in on him.
We'll go to Bree.
They've only had, 2 losses in conference play fairly recently. How much do you look at those games that they lost to Colorado State and UNLV to kind of see, how those teams were able to defeat them?
Yeah, that's great question, Bree. You definitely want to watch those games to see if you see any pattern, but, then you watch a lot of the recent games that they've played. You watch some consistency in what they're doing offensively and defensively and see if you can take advantage of anything, or you're also seeing what they're really good at.
We'll go to Jackson Moore.
Coach, what was your observations on Junior and how he's really settled in with a really good series this past week?
Yeah, he made his open shots, and he shot good shots. He shot them in rhythm. He's going to get open shots. People are not going to fly him off just yet. They're going to double team Orlando at different spots and do different things. So he's always played hard. I think he's become an even better defender, a smarter defender, and he's starting to space the floor a little better, and he's shooting it with confidence, which really helps.
We'll go to Bree.
Just back to the center matchup, how much are you just eager to see these guys kind of go at it? And not that Orlando has anything to prove, but I mean, this obviously is a pretty big game for him as well.
We're in a competition business, so it's going to be a great competition. And there are one-on-one individual battles out there, but it's also a team game. So, you're just going to see who's going to play the best for their team and make right decisions. And, it's not just one-on-one game, but there is a battle. I understand that between two guys that are pretty good out there, and, see who plays better.
We'll go to Scott.
with Junior, knocking down some threes the last couple of games, what could that mean maybe for Orlando inside, as far as maybe opening up a little more space for him?
He's got to pick and choose the times when he has to be able to read when he is open. When they're double teaming him, he has to give it up and find the open man, whether we're making shots or not. And when he has a chance to attack, he has to do that, and he has to pick and choose his times and read defense. But anytime we can make more outside shots, it's going to benefit us and him.
And if you have a question for Coach Hutt.
No. Full screen or lower third. But,
Coach, if I might jump in again here, I don't know what you can share on it or not, but with Dion, missing a game and then missing the first half of the next game, can you share anything with us about whether it was a disciplinary thing or what might have been involved, and just maybe what the message was to him and how you felt he has responded since then?
We're really practicing in these games. We're coming out and we're seeing things that we normally would see in practice, whether it's good or whether it's bad. And we're trying different lineups. And if guys are getting opportunities, we're seeing what they're doing with their opportunity. And then we're trying different guys. We had no preseason games just about. We hardly had any practices. We didn't have any 5-on-5 inter-squad scrimmages. So when we go out in a game, we're deciding we want everybody on our team to show up on time. We want everybody to play the right way. And guys are getting opportunities to do that. And some guys are flourishing and some guys don't play as well. And we're giving another guy an opportunity. But, the positive thing is nobody's buried on the bench. We're all trying to learn how to play the right way and play together. So whether that's Dion or Orlando or Isaiah Hill, we're all being held to a standard of playing the right way.
Go to Jackson.
Coach, for Utah State, Keita is obviously the guy that gets a lot of attention, but they've got almost 4 other scorers in double figures per game. Just what stands out about some of those other guys and the other ways they attack?
The way they move the ball and the way they play to their strengths. Very smart basketball players is what stands out to me. Is they've been coached very well, and they're very instinctual basketball players that play to their roles and they really move it. They play to their strengths, and that's why they have so much success with different guys in double figures.
We'll go to Gabe.
Coach, this season of all may not be the one to look at home road splits, but when you look at the numbers, you guys are 7-1 at the Save Mart Center and 0-5 on the road. Just what is it about playing at the Save Mart Center that really gets you guys to the winning, and how is it gonna be when you play Utah State at home, a challenging opponent, but one that should be able to play at the Save Mart Center?
I think this year is the competition. I think we play some of the lower teams at the Save Mart Center, and we play some of the top teams away from home. I think that's what it has to do this year, because there's no fans at the Save Mart Center this year. So it's not like we have a huge home court advantage at this point in time right now. The familiarity at home, someplace that we practice more often, being able to sleep in your home bed, those things help. But I think it's also who we're playing at home.
We'll go to Robert.
Getting back to rotations and everything, do you see at some point trimming that down, or do you see it going the same way?
Rob, when you comfort, these have been 2 weeks, Rob, that we've had, a couple of days of practice, before the game, and I don't see the consistency from certain people to be able to trim it down. I see it going like this the rest of the 3.5, 4 weeks is, we're going to have changes. I'm starting to see some consistency in the way. When Anthony and Junior, they've always been consistent on the defensive end. And they have a ways to go to get better, but when they make shots, they make us a lot better. So they haven't really stepped up their defensive game. They already played defense, but the difference is they're making shots now, and that's helping us. And with the other guys that are coming in and out, we're waiting to see who's going to be consistent and step up. And I don't see that yet to where it's like we're just going to be in a certain 7 or 8 man rotation. I can see us changing guys from game to game. I don't know if we'll change the starting lineup a whole lot, but I can see changing who's playing off the bench from game to game.
We'll go to Bree.
The Aggies kind of control their own destiny in terms of making, the tournament. Obviously, they kind of have to win out here. Is that something that you guys, are excited for, something that you're hoping to spoil, because your team obviously jumped out ahead of Boise State too. So it seems like they kind of like that challenge.
We don't talk much about, the other teams, record or what their other teams' aspirations are, or, being a spoiler. We really discuss, how are we going to get better? How are we going to compete in this game? What's it going to take for us to win? And we kind of stick with each week at a time. We got Utah State twice. Here's what we're going to have to do to win. Here's what we did well last game. Here's what we need to do better. We don't really, get into those, rah-rah and, let's win one, to keep them away from this or that. It's our message is very clear, Bree. It's about getting better and what do we need to do to win this game.
We'll go to Gabe with the final question.
You mentioned last time that you guys worked on free throws, and it showed you guys made your final 15 on Saturday. How big is that going to be this weekend against Utah State? You got to get those free points, right?
Some of those things are contagious, it really is. I've been doing this long enough to know that, guys start making them and they're a little contagious. Guys miss them. We had the right guys shooting them. I wasn't surprised that those guys can make free throws because they were good shooters. It would be nice to get fouled. Hopefully we're putting pressure on the defense and throwing it inside or driving it inside or offensive rebound. Whenever we're getting fouled, that's a good thing. And then you're right, we have to capitalize when that happens. When those things happen, they're more momentum builders.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday night.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank
you
you.
very much. Thank you.